Something special for you. A lot of times people ask, like, what's the one thing that literally changed your life, that changed your business? And normally I don't like to answer this question because it's not really one thing, it's everything. And so if I had to choose one thing, if I had to choose one technique, then it would be this one thing. And so that's what I want to talk about today. So let's see who's hopping on real quick. So like I said, this hands down, if you do this one thing, it will absolutely change your life. There's no way it can't change your life. That's how powerful this thing is. I've mentioned it before. I don't think people realize how powerful the thing is. You probably already know it, to be honest. You're probably just not even doing it. That's the thing. And so if you do this, like I said, it will hands down change your life. I mean, the reason why I don't like saying one thing that changed my life is because I think of success as like stairs, right? So it's like you're going up the stairs to the success, right? You're going up all these stairs. There isn't any one step that truly makes or breaks your success. And you just take one step at a time, and that's how success really works. But if there was one step, the beginning step, this is that beginning step. This is the one thing. I guarantee you, if you do this one thing, it will hands down change the course of your life forever. Like it will literally alter your life hands down. And so that's why I want to talk about this. In the beginning, when I was trying to get on stages, when I was trying to market myself, I couldn't really do the work. I mean, I was just like most people in terms of procrastinating all the time. I knew what I should do, but for some reason I couldn't actually get myself to do the work. And you got to understand that basically, successful people are successful for a reason. They do things that make them a success, and so they don't leave it to chance. And when you leave things to chance, it's like nothing really happens in your life. You're kind of just letting life happen to you, versus if you do this one thing, it will, like I said, change the course of your life. This is the one thing. If I had to go back and I would say, what's the one thing? It would be this one thing. And so the moment that everything changed for me, the moment that I kind of woke up was, for those of you who don't know, I was performing in restaurants, right? So I'm going restaurant to restaurant, table to table, and I have several restaurants. I'm performing, I think it was like 5 days out of the week at restaurants, or maybe 4 days. I can't remember. But I was performing at several restaurants, right? And that's how I was making all my money, or most of my money, with restaurants and then side gigs, like corporate gigs and stuff like that. And what happened with the restaurants is one day I go to one of the restaurants and they're paying me. Go to the restaurant, and then after I perform, after I do the whole thing for the night, the GM says, all right, Benji, so this is the last time we can pay you. But I mean, if you want to come in, just work for tips and stuff, you can do that. But this is the last time we're going to pay you. And so I'm thinking like, dang, all right, well, that sucks. But I've got all these other restaurants anyway. So like, okay, well, no, I'm not going to come in. I don't do this stuff for free. So I was like, okay, well, thanks. But all right, take care. Right. So I go to the restaurant, another restaurant the next day. Same thing happens. Like after I perform, then bam, they let me go. They're like, Benji, this is the last time. I mean, you can keep coming, but you got to work for free. It's just tips. We can't keep paying you. Go to another restaurant the next day. I'm like, I mean, it felt like they planned it, to be honest. I mean, it was like literally every single restaurant let me go within that 1 week. And I'm thinking, what the, like it was, it hurt. Like it hurt really bad. It was to a point where I was damn near in tears. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, it hurt really, really bad in terms of just getting let go by all the restaurants, because at this point I was afraid, like, all right, I don't want to get a job. I was terrified of getting a job. I'm like, all right, I've never had a job in my entire life. I don't want to get a job. I like actually performing, working for myself. And so when I was let go by all these restaurants literally in the same week, I'm thinking like, damn, like I was at the point where I was praying to God, and I'm not even a religious person, right? So I'm sitting there like, God, please, man. I mean, like it was at that point. And so I knew I didn't want to keep doing restaurants. And so I knew I wanted to hop into the corporate market. I knew I wanted to get the high paying gigs in the corporate market. But for some reason, once again, I wasn't really doing the right things. And so this is kind of the moment that really shift in terms of the tactic that I'm telling you that I started doing. Essentially, I decided that I had enough, to be honest. I was like, all right, I've had enough of the performing in restaurants. I want to do the corporate gigs. And so I wanted money for one, like hands down, I wanted money, no doubt about that. And I wanted to prove to all the haters, like every single entertainer out there, every single magician that was talking trash about me, I wanted to prove to every single one of them, hey, I'm way better than you. I'm going to make way more money than you. I'm way better than you. I wanted to do that. I mean, it may sound petty. That's hands down the truth. I wanted to make money despite the whole taboo about making money. I didn't care what that taboo was. I was like, nope, I want to be rich as all hell. And so that's what I actually started. I started thinking about that. And I also started thinking, I got to prove to these haters, like these guys are scrubs compared to me. So I was absolutely getting pissed off. Right. And so, what happened is as I'm like reading a ton of stuff, motivational stuff and everything, I came across a multimillionaire who did this one thing. This one thing is the one thing that I started doing. And like I said, I've told you guys this before, but if you haven't done this, it's why you aren't as productive as you want to be. But basically, I came across this multimillionaire, and what happened was the multimillionaire said he scheduled his days, right? And so he's like, he scheduled everything. It wasn't just a to-do list, because I would create to-do lists, but I couldn't actually do it. I'm like, all right, you got to do this, you got to do this. But I wasn't actually doing a lot of stuff that I knew I should do. So he said he scheduled his days, and he scheduled everything throughout the day. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what, let me just try this thing. So I scheduled my days, and I used the Pomodoro Technique. I think that's how you say it. The Pomodoro Technique is where you essentially say, all right, for 60 minutes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take a break for 10 minutes. Then another 60 minutes, I'm going to do this, take a break for 10, another 60. And so that's the Pomodoro Technique, right? And so what I started doing is I started scheduling my days, and I scheduled it to a point where, like literally, I scheduled all the tasks. And so what this does is it makes the days really simple. And that's what I started doing. I started saying, okay, I'm going to actually prospect for 90 minutes doing this. And so it made it really simple. So I would say like Monday, all I'm going to do is find events. That's literally all I did. I themed my days. I said, all right, on Monday, I'm going to find events. That's it. I'm not going to contact them. I'm just going to find events for 90 minutes. I'm going to sit down at the computer. Bam. That's all I'm going to do. Find events. I'm going to take a break for 15 minutes, another 90 minutes. Bam. I'm going to find events. I'm going to get something to eat for 30 minutes. Or 20, 30 minutes, whatever. And then bam, I'm going to do another 90 minutes, and then bam. And I kept doing that, right? And I didn't just do it for one day. I didn't just do it for 1 week. Didn't just do it for a month. I kept doing it. Like literally, that's all I would do. I scheduled the entire day from start to finish. And so by doing this, it got me clear on what it is I want, on where I'm going and what I need to do to get there. For those of you who aren't doing this, like I said, I've said this several times in terms of this technique, in terms of scheduling your days, you don't realize what you're missing out on, because what happens is life gets in the way when you don't schedule your life. If you aren't scheduling your days, things will just pop up. And for some reason, you won't get things done. And so that's what was happening to me until I started scheduling my days. And so this is one of the things where people say, oh, I know that. And then I think, well, what does your schedule look like tomorrow? Well, I've got these things to do, right? No, it's not a to-do list. It's literally, here's my calendar. From 8:15 to 9 a.m., I'm going to do this. From 9 a.m. to 9:10, I'm going to take a break. From 9:10 to 10:30, I'm going to do this, right? And what happens is you take it dead serious in terms of, if this were a meeting with my idol, would I cancel this meeting? You see, with most people, what happens is they'll schedule the day. Maybe they'll do this, maybe they won't. They'll schedule a day, right? And so let's see. Hold on a sec. All right, cool. So maybe they'll schedule their day, right? And then something will pop up. And then they'll just instantly get rid of their schedule, a thing that they've scheduled for the day. They'll just stop doing that thing, and they'll do this other thing that popped up. For me, it was more of, this is the most important thing ever. Unless, like if you're a family member and let's say something pops up, then sure, I'll do that, depending on what it is. And this is the hard part, right? This is where this multimillionaire was actually pretty funny. He said I don't know if it was his son or someone in the family, they broke their arm, right? And so he schedules his entire day, and he treats everything insanely serious about when he schedules his days. And so his son or someone in the family broke their arm. And they were like, I broke my arm. You gotta do this, whatever. You gotta go to the hospital and stuff. And he said, there's nothing we can do about it right now. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it when I get to the hospital. So you're going to have to wait until I'm done with this, and then we'll go to the hospital. And I was like, damn, like I read that. I said, wow, all right. But that's how serious you take it. And so essentially I started getting clear on the what, like, what exactly do I need to do to get this thing that I want in terms of getting on stages, right? What exactly do I need to do? What's the end result that I want? So first I started with that, right? Then I focused on what exactly do I need to do, the activity. And so I kept the activities to a minimum because what most people do is they'll have a huge list of to-dos. I kept my activities to a serious minimum, and I'll tell you how I did that in just a second. But I just said, okay, on Monday, it's just going to be about finding events. On Tuesday, it's just going to be about contacting the events. Wednesday, find more events. Tuesday or Thursday, contact more events. And so I kept it insanely simple, but I scheduled the Pomodoro Technique in terms of that. And so it wasn't about doing a lot. It was about getting a lot done. I kept asking a couple questions, and these questions were, these questions in terms of asking these, it was probably one of the most important parts of this technique. When people schedule their days, a lot of times they'll put things on their schedule that doesn't actually get them to where they want to be. And the way your brain works, it's called the confirmation bias. Basically, you look for evidence that supports what you already want, right? And so the way your brain can justify anything. So let's say I was trying to get on stages, right? I could easily say, okay, on Monday for 90 minutes, starting at 8, for 90 minutes, I'm going to work on my book, right? So I could easily do that. But I think, how does this book get me on a stage? It doesn't. And so, on the other hand, my mind could justify, right? My mind could say, okay, I'm going to work on this book for 90 minutes. Well, the way this book is going to get me on a stage is if I position myself as an expert and all of a sudden the book blows up like the Bible, then bam, everyone's going to love me and then they'll hire me, right? So I could have justified it, but I started asking myself these questions. I said, number one, is this the most important thing? Like the most important thing? Is there anything that's more important than this thing that I scheduled for the day? And I kept asking myself, more importantly, I asked myself, is there anything more effective than this thing? So if let's say I scheduled writing a book for 90 minutes, I would say, is this the most important thing? Once again, my mind can justify it. It can say, oh yeah, it is. But then I said, is there anything more effective than this thing? Is there anything more effective than me writing a book? Yes, there is. Prospecting. If I actually find and contact events, that is more effective than writing a book. So I said, forget writing a book. Let me put prospecting on there. And so I kept doing that. I kept saying, is there anything more effective? Because once again, your mind can justify anything. And so then I started asking myself, okay, well, what if I don't do this for a month? What's going to happen? Right? And so let's say writing a book once again. I say, okay, what if I don't write this book for a month? What's going to happen? Nothing really. I mean, absolutely nothing. If I don't write a book, nothing's going to happen. If I don't do prospecting though, if I don't reach out for a month, I simply won't make any money. Like I'll go out of business. And so I start asking myself, if I don't do this thing, what's going to happen? Because once again, I'm trying to get out of the mode of justifying the activities that I'm putting on my calendar. Because once again, you can justify any activity whatsoever for your end goal. It's just the way your brain works. It's actually pretty amazing, to be honest. But you can justify any activity. So I started asking myself, like, what if I don't do this? What if I just literally just said, forget it, I'm just not going to do this ever, or for a month at least? And so that's how I started getting into it. And then more importantly, I started asking myself, if I did this thing for a year straight, what would happen? Like if I just did this one thing for an entire year, all day, every day, what would actually happen? And I think that is probably the most important question in terms of figuring out what's the most important activity to engage in, right? And the reason this is probably the most important question is because it forces your mind to look into the future in terms of, all right, here's what I want. If I were to do this thing for a year straight, what would happen? And that's what I started asking myself. I said, okay, let's say I want to write a book. If I were to write a book for a year straight, or books for a year straight, what would happen? What would happen is I would have a book or several books. That's all that would happen. I wouldn't be promoting the book, nothing. I'd be writing a book, By the time I'm done in a year, I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, however many books I could write in a year. And I took it literally. I said, okay, writing a book. I didn't think writing and promoting. I didn't think writing and putting it on Kindle or none. I thought literal. I thought if I were to just write a book for an entire year, just write, what would happen? All that would happen is I have a book. If all I were to do is to find events for a year, what would happen? I would just have a huge list of events. That's all that would happen. If I were to contact events for a year, what would happen? I would get booked inevitably. Like, it's inevitable that if I actually contact someone, it would be inevitable that I would actually get hired. And so that's what I started to ask myself. If I were to do this thing for a year straight, what would happen? And so it just shows you the end result of the activity that you're engaging in. And so that's why I started asking that question just 24/7, right? The goal of every single question is to literally just think about, is this the most important thing that I should be doing? Is this a thing that should be on my calendar? And so if you look at extremely successful people, you'll notice pretty much all successful people have a calendar. That's why they have the assistant with them. The assistant's like, all right, so at 2 p.m. you got this meeting, and then at 3 we got to go here, and so that's why they do it, right? And so you just got to make sure that what you're doing is the most important thing to get your end result, right? And so at that point, though, even though I was putting all these things on the calendar or scheduling the days, you also have to think in terms of, how do I adjust? Because a couple things are going to happen. In your mind, you create this fantasy in your mind of how you think things are going to happen. You're like, all right, I'm going to schedule my days. I'm going to be super productive. I'm going to kill it. 2019's coming. I'm going to kill it, right? And so there's these dreams, these fantasies in your head. Then reality kicks in. Reality just whoops your ass, right? Reality is Mike Tyson, just like, oh, that's what you think, huh? Boom, and just punch you in the gut. You're like, oh, motherfucker. And so that's what was happening as I was trying to schedule my days. Like, I would naturally be tired just midday, right? Just naturally. And so things like, I swear I have insomnia. I haven't like gone and gotten checked or anything, but I can't really sleep most of the times. And so it was like little things in terms of like, okay, the insomnia, and then all of a sudden I can't really, I can't focus at times. Like, I'd sit there, I planned for 90 minutes, but then 30 minutes in, I'm just like, let's check Facebook real quick, right? And so like little things like that to pop up. And so you have to adjust based on that. And so in terms of getting tired, I started changing what I was eating. Like, I would eat more fish and get the omega-3s and all that sort of stuff. I started working out more, just doing more cardio and all that, just to get the energy going. With the insomnia, I honestly couldn't figure that out for the longest time. I actually did buy this thing recommended by my friend Yannick. It's like a magnesium thing, which is pretty cool. It works like a charm, but that's a whole other story. But basically, I started thinking about, what do I need to adjust, right? And so I started just doing little things. In the beginning, I tried to schedule my bathroom breaks. Like, I really did try to schedule it, but I couldn't really schedule that, right? But I was thinking about, what do I need to adjust as I'm trying to schedule my days? And so I did this even when I was creating the online portion. Like, when I created the online business, I really had to schedule the days, because as I'm getting on stages, I'm making too much money doing this thing to focus on the online business. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to focus on the online business when I'm actually getting these $10, $15, $20,000 gigs. There's no way I'm going to sell a book for $30 when I can just sell a speech for $10,000, $15,000. No way in hell. And so what I did is I really scheduled my days for the online business. So I scheduled things in terms of, today, all I'm going to do is create videos. And I created about 20 or 30 videos in a day, right? That's all I'm going to do. Tomorrow, all I'm going to do is write all the emails for these videos, for the content. And then the next day, all I'm going to do is schedule these emails. So in 3 to 4 days, I literally did everything for the online business for an entire month. Just 3 to 4 days, right? And so that's how I built the online portion. When I stopped doing it, right? So eventually I got to a point, I was like, all right, man, getting all this momentum. And then I stopped scheduling my days. I said, you know what? This scheduling the days, I don't really need to do that. I mean, it's kind of like restrictive and all that. So I started doing a to-do list. I said, let me just do a to-do list. And man, my productivity went down by so much. It was ridiculous, right? And so the momentum is slowed when I created a to-do list instead of a to-do list and scheduling literally like every minute of the day. And so I didn't get as many sales, and especially online and all that. I didn't get as many sales, none of that, because I stopped scheduling the days. It wasn't until I started again, and I scheduled the days once again, that I actually hit that $100,000 in a month. And I was like, oh, damn, all right, let's start scheduling some more days, right? And so when you stop scheduling everything, things, for some reason, things just pop up in your life, right? Natural things, you'll just naturally get tired. Other things will pop up. You'll get text messages, especially nowadays with all that, right? And so things just started popping up when I stopped scheduling the days. Scheduling basically just gives you a clear idea on where you're going and what it is you need to do to get there. And so hands down, this is the most important thing that altered the course of my entire life in business. It is a thing that people say, I know that, then they don't do it. I guarantee you, most of the people watching this will not schedule their days. They simply won't. They'll say, oh yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. Got the concept. Bam. Then they're done, right? And I guarantee you tomorrow they're going to wake up the same day doing exactly what they did today, yesterday, the day before. They just won't do it. And so it's one of the things that where you got to get out of your mind of this I know, and you got to start actually scheduling your days. I can't tell you how much this will alter the course of your life if you schedule your day for an entire week. And the way I schedule the days, or schedule your day for the entire year, like make sure you commit to this for an entire year, right? But you're scheduling your days for the entire week. So I don't try to schedule everything like a month in advance. There's no way in hell you can do that. What I did is every Sunday I would schedule the week, right? And so I would do that. And so you just can't schedule the entire month. There's no possible way you can do that unless you're like insanely busy. You're like a CEO and you have all these meetings that you really can't schedule for an entire month. But in terms of the activities, I simply scheduled the week of the activities, and then every Sunday, once again, schedule the week. So that's kind of what I was doing. Scheduling everything, it allows you to see the big picture of where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you won't know what activities will actually get you there. And so that's why I was scheduling everything. You must be clear on what goes into your calendar, right? This is where a lot of people screw up on. They're not clear on what goes onto the calendar. So you don't just put marketing on your calendar. You don't just put, all right, you know what, from 9 a.m. to 10:30, 90-minute segment, I'm going to do marketing. You don't do that, because once again, when you look at the calendar, you look at marketing, you're like, what the do I do? Right? And so you don't know what to do. Instead, what I would do is I would schedule the calendar. It would literally say prospecting using Google image search with award banquet, the keyword award banquet. So I would look at it and I knew exactly what I needed to do. It wasn't just marketing. It wasn't find events. It wasn't any of that. It was very clear about what I needed to do. When I scheduled my content, right? When I was scheduling the content, it wasn't make 20 videos. It wasn't that. It was basically make this video, this video, this video. It was the names of the video, the headlines of the videos, right? It was literally the names and everything. So I knew exactly what I was creating. And once again, with the emails, once again, same thing, make these emails, right? And so it was very clear when it went onto my calendar. When things go onto your calendar, it needs to be so clear that it cannot be mistaken for something else. You can't just say marketing. You can't just say create content. It's more of, what exactly are you going to create? Is it going to be a podcast? What's the podcast about? You got to literally schedule that. And so that's literally what I did, right? And so basically, life will not get in the way when you schedule your life, because you're scheduling everything. And so that's why this is so important. Like I said, if there was one thing, it would be this one thing, because in the beginning, I can't tell you how much I was like everybody else in terms of struggling with procrastination and everything. I was sitting there thinking, all right, I want to do this. I knew exactly what to do. That was the worst part about it. I knew I should be cold calling and cold emailing. I knew I should be doing it. I couldn't get myself to do it. And like, no matter what I would do, I would say, all right, Benji, seriously, Monday, you're going to be doing this stuff. You're going to be prospecting. Monday, Benji, come on now, you got it, right? And so I knew what I should be doing. I just couldn't do it until I came across the multimillionaire who's like, I scheduled everything. My entire days, there's like no white space on my calendar. I was like, let me try that, right? So I tried it. Bam, this altered the course of my entire life. It's not a coincidence that CEOs and every person who's successful, damn near has an assistant who says, all right, so from 2 to 2:15, you've got a schedule or you got a meeting with this person. From 2:20 to 3 o'clock, you've got this. And it's not a coincidence that you see that all day, every day with every CEO, every single successful person. That is not a coincidence. They are literally creating the life they want to have. And that's how you need to see it. You have to get past the frustration and boredom when you're actually doing all this stuff, right? And so I'm sitting there, I'm scheduling everything. And so I'm thinking, once again, life pops up, right? So in your mind, you're thinking, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to be a beast. I'm going to schedule my days. I'm going to wake up and bam, I'm going to get ready to just go, right? Then all of a sudden you wake up, you're like, I don't feel like it today. Let me just watch Netflix. I'll just do this tomorrow, right? And so that's what happens, right? And then all of a sudden, let's say you're prospecting. Like I was prospecting, I'm reaching out to events. I would naturally get bored, but I didn't plan for this. There's no way you can see things like that unless you've actually done it before. So you can't anticipate stuff like that. And so I would get bored. I'm sitting there prospecting, and that's what would happen in terms of, all right, you know what? I got this plan for 90 minutes. Let me contact these events. After a few of them, I'm like, what text messages did I get real quick? All right. Okay. Cool. All right. And so you don't plan for that stuff. It just pops up. And so you have to get through that. You have to get through the frustration and the boredom. And this is why you'll create little games for yourself. I created a little game for myself in terms of prospecting, in terms of, all right, so let's say 90 minutes, I found X number of events. Then I would say, all right, the next 90 minutes, I'm going to find that plus another 5. And I would try to beat myself every day. Just like the high score in a game, I try to beat myself with the high score in terms of how many events I was finding and contacting on a daily basis. So what happens is, when you're scheduling your days, you associate the end goal with the activity. And so it's like, all right, I got to get on stages. So how do I do that? I got to send emails. I got to contact these events. And you associate the two. Basically, emails equal money. Emails equal revenue. You associate those two. Whereas something like writing a book, it's not associated with actually generating any revenue whatsoever. And so that's what you're doing inside of your brain when you're scheduling your days. Like I said, at the time, it was just money. That's all I was focused on, hands down money. I was like, I didn't care about changing the world, none of that. I was like, I want to make money. And I know people say that's not what you should do, but in the beginning, that is what you need to do. You need to focus on the money in the beginning. It's just like, imagine a homeless person. A homeless person wants to help the world. He can't because he's homeless. But then Bill Gates, he does. He not only can, he does help the world because he's one of the richest people in the world. And so you got to help yourself before you can help other people. So when people say things like, I want to help other people, it's not about the money and all that, I think to myself, you got to make money to help other people. Like that's just a fact. And so in the beginning, it was 100% about the money. So all I did was focus on, does this thing actually make money? If I were to actually contact events all day, every day, would I make money? The answer is yes. But on the other hand, if I were to write a book all day, every day, would this thing make money? Hell to the no. So I didn't do it, right? And so that's what happened in terms of hanging out with people as well. I thought if I were to hang out and talk with other entertainers and speakers, and I would do that all day, every day, would that make me any money? No, absolutely not. And so on the other hand, if I were to hang out and talk with event planners, meeting planners, would that make me money? Yes, it would. So I didn't join any associations with speakers, entertainers, none of that. I didn't talk to them, didn't care about them, none of them, right? I simply hung out and talked to meeting planners and event planners. That's all I did. And so that's kind of what I was doing. And then at the same time, I would remind myself of the mission that I'm trying to do. In the beginning, the mission was strictly making money. Like I said, my mission is to make money. That was the mission in the beginning. And so that's why I associated everything with the mission. Like, does this make me money? If not, I'm not going to do it. And so that's kind of what you're doing. And I always thought back to, like nowadays, the mission's very different. So nowadays, I think back to, I call him the Bruce. The Bruce is the version of me back in high school who was struggling, trying to figure out how to get gigs, and nobody was really helping him, right? So I think back to the Bruce, and I'm thinking, all right, if I were to help the Bruce, what type of advice would I give this guy to actually implement? And this, if there was one thing, it would be this one thing, like, hey, do this earlier. Like, you've heard about it before, but you've never done it. You create a to-do list. You're procrastinating all the time. If there's one thing you can do to change the course of your entire life, It is this one thing. You have to schedule your days, and you can't get to the point where you're like most people, like, oh yeah, I got it. Cool. Got it. Then tomorrow you wake up, you didn't schedule a damn thing. You wake up tomorrow, you're like, okay. Or even right now, as soon as you're done with this thing, you're like, all right, let me schedule, what is today? Wednesday. You're like, all right, so let me schedule Thursday and Friday, right? So that's what you do. You do it instantly, right? And so that's kind of the mode you got to be in. This is why I keep telling people, like, look, man, it's not about doing what you love. It's about doing what you must. I didn't love prospecting. I absolutely hated the damn thing, but I wanted to get on stages. I wanted to get booked. And so there's no way in hell anyone can tell me they love prospecting. There's no way. When people tell me only do what you love, I'm like, that is absolute bullshit. Like, you simply can't. There's no way you can do. I guarantee if you take most people, take 99% of people, and you say, hey man, would you rather just sit on a beach 24/7 and just sit on a beach, watch Netflix and watch some movies, not do a damn thing? Or would you rather work on this thing? And which one would you rather do? They're like, shoot, I'd rather just sit on a beach, right? That's what I'd love to do, right? And so it's not about doing what you love. It's about doing what you must. The problem is doing what you must is so hard. That's why you always procrastinate all the time. And so that's why I was procrastinating all the time. I just didn't want to do the thing. And so I got to the point where I said, all right, this is stupid. It was the point where I got fired by all the restaurants. I got let go by all the restaurants. That was the tipping point. And then all of a sudden I started scheduling the days. I said, all right, this is getting ridiculous, Benji. Like, I know what to do. For some reason, I'm not doing it. So I said, okay, what do I absolutely need to do? What do I must? What's the must, right? The must was scheduling the days, scheduling every aspect of the day. And so that's essentially what I did. You have to discipline yourself. And I was talking about this with a friend yesterday. So we went out to lunch and he was like, hey man, do you want to go out to this one place? Shaq is going to be there and all these people are going to be there like 9 p.m. right? I said, no, I'm not going to go because I wake up early in the morning, right? And so he was like, damn, that's what I'm talking about, discipline, right? He was like, yeah, I need to get some more discipline in my life. He's like, damn. And so that's literally what I told him. And I was like, I don't care who's there, to be honest. It was just the fact that it's during the week. I got to do these Facebook Lives and I wake up at least by 6 a.m. every single day. And so I said, I don't stay out late because I wake up early. And then he instantly said, like, damn, I need to get disciplined like that. And so you got to discipline yourself. And if you aren't disciplining yourself, then you simply won't accomplish what you want. This is, like I said, hands down the most important thing you will ever do that will alter the course of your entire business and your entire life. If you are not scheduling your days, it is why you are where you are. Because when you schedule your days and when you know what to schedule on your days, then naturally it's inevitable that you will accomplish what you want to accomplish. When you say, here's what I want to get booked, or I want to, whatever it is you want. Like, I want to be the online guru. You say, here's what I want. And then you schedule your entire day to accomplish this thing. It is inevitable that that thing is going to happen. There's no possible way it can't not happen if you schedule the right things. This is why I asked those questions where, let me say them again. In terms of like, is this the most important thing? Is there anything more effective than this thing? What if I don't do this for a month? And the most important question, if I were to do this one thing for a year straight, what would happen? And so, like, let's say the content, right? If I were to actually, let's say a podcast, let's say I'm starting a podcast. Say if I were to create a podcast every day for a year straight, what would happen? What would happen? Nothing, really. I mean, like, literally nothing. Just because you have a podcast, nothing would happen. On the other hand, if I were to promote a podcast, if I were to promote my podcast every day, what would happen? Well, it's inevitable that I'll generate money. Like, it's inevitable. And so that's why I focused on asking myself that question in terms of what would happen in terms of if I were to do this for an entire year, what would actually happen? And that's how you really need to operate. All right. So that's pretty much everything in terms of the most important thing that changed my entire life, literally. So let's see if there are any questions. All right, so let's see. Said, please speak about leverage of other people's events. All right, I'll talk about that. Marie, just mention that tomorrow, I think. I'll talk about that tomorrow. All right, so let's see. Nick said, too many people are dead serious about the minutia, nonsense things, and they then play around with the things that actually matter. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. That's why I have this theory of if it's something that you like to do, it's probably the thing you shouldn't be doing. That's just a fact. What needs to happen is you need to become obsessed. It's not about liking something. It's about being obsessed with doing the thing. Of course, if you obsess about the thing you like, then great. On the other hand, you just need to be obsessed. It's like an addict, right? So if you talk with an addict, a crack addict or whatever, meth addict or whatever, I'm sure they would probably want to stop. Like some of them probably want to stop, but they can't. Like they're addicted. They're obsessed over this thing. That's the level you need to operate at. You become obsessed over this thing where you can't stop if you wanted to. And that's that's the mindset you always need to operate in. Or that's the level you need to get to. And the way you get to the obsession is by doing the thing over and over. You're constantly associating the thing you're doing with the thing that you want to accomplish, with the end goal, right? That's how you literally get obsessed. You literally say, the end goal is to be a billionaire. That's my end goal. That's all I want in the world. When I become a billionaire, I can die, right? Let's say that's your end goal. And then you say, what's the activity that's actually going to get me there? Say the activity is this thing, and you keep associating these two together. When you associate those two together, you will naturally become obsessed with this activity, whether you like it or not. You will be obsessed because you know that this activity, if you do it nonstop all day, every day, it will get you this thing. And so that's how you essentially become obsessed. So let's see. So Nick said, most authors, even ones who are self-published, have good marketing, only make $10,000 at most. It takes months to do. Yeah, speaking lifestyle can, yep, cool. All right, let's see. Anything else? Any other questions? See, I think there was a question on Instagram. This is the best advice to schedule your days, but he said, but what is better? You told me to stop saying I know. And this is, the I know thing. It's actually the funniest thing in terms of advice. It's one of the things where when people hear stuff, I think it comes back to we just want to make things more complicated than what it actually is. And so when people hear schedule your days, we're like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that, right? And then all of a sudden they wake up tomorrow, the next day, they haven't scheduled a damn thing. And then the life just keeps going on the way it is. And the same goes with all this stuff. It's like you tell someone, all right, if you're building your email list, start spending money on ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Like, yeah, I know that. Then all of a sudden a week later, they haven't spent a damn thing. It's the same thing in terms of when I talk with all these gurus, or a lot of people wanting to be a guru, wanting to build their online business. I say like, all right, well, start with a website. Like, get a website up real quick because people are going to Google you. And if you don't have a website, people just aren't going to think you're serious, right? So I say, start with a website. Then a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks, 4 weeks go by. They haven't gotten a website up. And then once again, I tell them, get a website up. They're like, yeah, I mean, I know, right? I'm thinking, I don't care what you know. Did you get it up? I don't care if you know about Facebook ads. Are you spending money every day on Facebook ads? I don't care what you know. And so that's essentially, you got to get out of the I know mentality if you're always in that mentality. It's never about what you know. It's always about what it is you're actually getting done. And I'm telling you, the one thing that will literally alter the course of your life is scheduling your days. See, scheduling every aspect, not a to-do list. It is not a to-do list. There's a big difference between having a to-do list and scheduling your days. What I do nowadays is I create a to-do list inside of Asana. Then I say I start thinking in terms of the tasks, right? So there's a huge list of to-dos inside of Asana. Then I start asking myself, if I were to do this thing all day, every day, like I ask those questions, right? If I were to do this all day, every day, what's going to happen? If I were to do this for a year, blah, blah, blah. Is this the most important thing? And I start I either delete the task entirely or I just like push it down the list. And then I say, okay, these are the most important things. The 1, 2, 3. These are the most important things. Then I schedule those things on the calendar. That's how I actually do it nowadays, right? And so I'm using a to-do list combined with a calendar, but once it's on the calendar, I treat it with absolute 100% priority. If something is on my calendar, something big has to happen for me to take it off my calendar. If someone says like, hey, we're going out to a party, whatever, I'm like, nope, I got to do this thing. If a friend comes into town, hey, can we meet up? Nope, got to do this thing, right? I treat my calendar like it's absolutely the most essential thing ever. If it goes on my calendar, it's probably not coming off at that point. And so that's what you literally have to do. All right, so we got that. Wish I met you back in 2005. All right, cool. All right, we got that. All right, so today I'll actually look at your website inside the Facebook group. All right, so yeah, I just wanted to go over that real quick in terms of that's hands down the thing that altered the course of my entire life. If you guys aren't doing this, what you waiting for? That's all I'm saying. Like, what you waiting for? You don't realize how much this thing will change your life until you actually start doing it and you do it consistently. It's not enough to just do it for a week, not enough to do it for a month. You do it, commit to it for at least a year, And that you'll naturally see your entire life will change. The hardest thing is making sure you're doing the right things. That's the hardest thing, which is why I need to go back and listen to the questions that I ask myself. More importantly, the question of, if I were to do this one activity for a year straight, what would happen? That's probably the most important question that you got to ask, right? So let's see. Latoya said it's not about what you know, but what you do. It's golden. Cool. All right. So I think we are good to go for today. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we will talk more about all the other stuff, getting on stages and everything. But I just wanted to talk about this because, once again, if there's one thing that I had to think about in terms of changing my life, it is this one thing. Just because I was at that point where I knew what to do. That's the worst part. You know what to do. Like, most of you know what to do. Most of you know you should be, like, for you speakers and all that, you know you should be contacting events, but you're not doing it. I guarantee you're not doing it. And for those of you who want to be the authority, the expert in the industry, you know you should be building your email list, spending money on ads. Guarantee you're not doing it. And so I knew that stuff. I knew what I should be doing, but I wasn't doing it. And it wasn't until I started scheduling the days, until I made that commitment to schedule everything, and I treated this schedule, the activity on the schedule, as the most important thing in my life. The most important thing in my life ever. So if anything else popped up, nope, you're not important to me. None of that stuff is important to me. This is the most important thing in my life. If I don't do this thing, the world is going to come to an end. That's how I thought about this activity, right? And so once I thought that way, then I started doing the things, started naturally getting more productive. And once again, I started associating the activity to the mission, the activity to the end goal. When I kept doing that, in terms of associating an activity with the end goal, it no longer became a chore to do this thing. Like, actually reaching out to events, it was initially a chore. Like, I was getting frustrated and it sucked in the beginning. It was initially a chore, but when I kept associating the two, the activity with the end game, that's when I became obsessed with the activity, and that's when the activity naturally produced the end result. That's what you have to truly do to actually get to that point that you want to get to. All right, so we are good to go for today. I will see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks, everybody, for showing up, and we'll talk more about getting you guys just doing your marketing, all that stuff tomorrow. So thanks, everybody, for showing up, 9 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, Monday through Friday. See you later.